Ladies and gentlemen, in a first for the right side of things, it gives me great pleasure to bring in our guest for the evening, a fellow Massachusetts native, Mr. Paul Santisi. How are you this evening, Paul?
Fantastic. How are you?
Well, it's another day above ground, and I'm just doing my bit.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, I shouldn't expect anything less than fantastic out of you. You are probably one of the most upbeat people I have ever seen. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you can let us in on that, because it's not very easy to stay upbeat in today's world. So it's always amazing to me when I can see somebody like yourself who's just always got a smile on their face and always has a kind word for somebody, and is just always happy to get up out of bed and get out of the gate every day. I really don't know how you do it.
Sure. It's actually really, really easy. If you break it down, there's two emotions you can pull from, either love or fear. And if you pull from fear, stress, anxiety, doubt, disbelief, annoyance, anger, your life's going to really suck all the time. If you pull from love, well, hey, now you're feeling terrific, you're feeling great, you pass the kind word around, the energy flows, things pick up, things keep coming. So it's actually very easy. It's just a conscious decision to decide what side of that energy field that you want to draw from.
Well, I agree with you. There really are only two emotions, love and fear. And fear does beget pretty much every negative emotion, whether it's hatred, jealousy, envy, racism, just plain old meanness. It all comes from fear, because everybody's afraid of something, afraid of being discovered, afraid of not being liked, afraid of dying, afraid of getting old, afraid of losing their hair, whatever it is. Everybody's got something.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. They come from that fear vibration, and before you know it, their whole life is just complete and total misery from one moment to the next. But I wanted to ask you, and just going to start spitballing here, and if you have somewhere that you think I'm not going and you want to go, please, by all means, rein me in. How did you start to get involved in all of these the guided meditations? What made you decide to start putting out your own, creating these, and getting them out on YouTube?
It's a good question. I've told the story before, and it's a great story. I was actually, of all places in the world, I was in Las Vegas, and I was at the MGM Grand Casino, and I was there for a weekend event, and I was surrounded by 3,000 like-minded, loving, just amazing people. And this was on a Saturday when we broke for lunch. Just got done listening to a couple amazing speakers, and I was with my friends, and we were walking by the Starbucks. And I remember I looked off to the left, and I read the word Starbucks, and I felt this voice say to me, "You will create meditations." And I thought to myself, who was that? What are you talking about? And this voice just in my mind, "You will create meditations. You'll create meditations." And I was so tired from being at this event since Thursday, and I was so energetically pumped up from just the experience, that in that moment I was just like, okay, I'll create meditations. And I looked at my friends and I said, when I get home, I'm going to create meditations. And my friend Joe, he looked at me and he goes, "And why would you do that?" And we all just kind of laughed and didn't think anything of it. And then it wasn't until I got home and that voice was back. "You'll create meditations, you'll create meditations, you'll create meditations." And I'm having this conversation with myself going, I don't even know what meditating is. How is it? What do you mean? What is this? And this voice, this intuition was just, we'll do it together. And I sat down in front of the computer, and within a couple days I created my first meditation called Frequency. So what I did was, I didn't know where it all came from, so I thought the best thing to do would be to send it to the last speaker I heard on stage on that weekend. So I got a hold of him, and I sent it to him. I said, "Can you let me know, what you think, how you feel about this?" And I heard this voice after I heard you speak, and this is what I created. And he got back to me, and he said, "Don't you ever stop doing what you started to do." I said, okay. So then after that, I tried. Now this is a key word here. I tried making meditations, and nothing was flowing. I would get stuck. I'd be confused. I was trying to think. It just wasn't working. So I stopped thinking, and then I just went back to living. And then I noticed I would start to get these feelings or impressions on what to create next for a meditation. And that's how it even works to this day. I just live my life, do what I'm doing, and I could be at Home Depot, I could be at the supermarket, I could be at my mother's house. I'll get this feeling. And when this feeling comes in, it hits me. And within usually that day or the next day, I create that new meditation, and then I share that back out with the world. So of all places, it was Las Vegas, and it's just the ride since has been amazing. And when I uploaded that first meditation frequency to YouTube, the response out of the gate was it was mind-blowing, the amount of gratitude and thankfulness and positive response and comments that just started coming in at such a fast rate of speed. I just kept it going, and that's where we are today. I think now on YouTube alone, I have 130 hours of audios that I share for free.
Well, it's certainly extensive. I mean, when I look at the channel, it seems to go on forever.
Yeah, I keep getting these feelings.
Well, let me ask you something. When you started this, did you have a YouTube channel for yourself prior to this and you just added the videos, or the YouTube channel was specifically just to promote videos? In other words, you did everything from bottom up.
Everything was from bottom up. I didn't even really ever even look at YouTube or engage in it. Same with meditating. I didn't know what meditating was. And I even thought that people who meditated were kind of creepy. That's how much I didn't know. So to have this feeling pulling me in this direction and then creating this overwhelming response, just awesome. Great stuff.
Well, some of us are kind of creepy. I suppose you could say that. But, what makes that, the reason I asked that question is because what makes that even more of a absolute positive affirmation for you is how quickly it took off. I mean, it's not like you heard this voice, okay, go make meditations. All right, and you make one and nobody listens to it, and then you wonder, why did you say that? You end up standing there like Kevin Costner in the middle of this baseball field going, why did I build this again? Because there's nobody there. But yet, you heard the voice and you went with it, and yet you get this amazing response, which is not easy because YouTube, as I'm sure you know, has got 1 billion channels on it of every make and size and description. And it's even for people who go out there and do the legwork and do the publicizing of their own channel, it's difficult to get listeners to come to your channel and then have them like it and continue to come back. So the fact that you did this basically on a shoestring type idea or blind or in the dark or whatever you want to call it is even that much more amazing. I mean, has that made an impression on you? Have you stopped to thought about how amazing it is that this all really came literally out of nowhere? Never mind, take the voice aside. I'm not dismissing the voice, but the reaction, that has to be the most gratifying thing, no?
Yeah, I was really unaware of the power of the response until I started talking to other people with YouTube channels. So I really didn't know what I didn't know until I started learning from other people, and everyone's asking me, how do you get these views, and what service are you using to drive people to your site and to get these views? And my answer is nothing. Every view that I've received has been 100% organic. I've never spent a penny sending anyone anywhere to listen to anything. So I guess my experience is just unique, and it's going on about 2 years now. And I think we're at 5.3, 5.4, 5.5 million views. And the math every week, because, we can look at the analytics, the math is at any given second, there's over 950 people somewhere in the world listening to one of the audios that I have uploaded at any given second. And that number continues just to grow and grow and grow and grow. Everything just keeps growing and growing, and the response from people and the testimonials and the level of gratitude and thankfulness and awareness and awakening and clarity and contrast that people are experiencing. It's amazing. It's fantastic, really.
Yeah, it really is. It's funny, in our chat room, one of the people in our chat room is someone that's been a guest on the show, and that's Sean Cohen, who's absolutely incredible medium from Pennsylvania, but she now resides in England, and she's put up, which I thought was kind of funny, when she was hearing you talk about the voice that you heard. So it's interesting because when you hear that voice, you really do hear it, and you think, what is that? Or who?
Well,
and
more
again,
you
and we
feel
all
it.
have that.
You feel
yeah,
it.
It's like,
it's a resonance. You feel
yes,
it. It's
like,
an
you?
inner resonance, yeah.
Who's in my head? And why are you saying these things? And are you in there rent-free? So those are the things that happen. But again, now let me ask you on actually crafting these videos. Let's take, for example, one that I know well, which is the OBE meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, the text and the speaking part of it is coming right from you. In that particular med, is there a binaural beat happening that's kind of sitting under? I mean, you can hear the music, but is there a binaural beat that's sitting under that audio?
In that audio, yeah.
Okay.
There's some in there, and there's a
so
lot of. Go ahead.
How do you choose it? In other words, how do you choose the particular beat? Where do you pull that from? And how do you layer? I mean, I know I'm getting a little technical, but I think that the audience kind of finds this as interesting as I do. How do you construct? Let's take that one. How did you construct that particular med and what's in it?
I mean, I really don't think about it that much. When I created that one, I really liked the music that I found, and that came from a gentleman that I'm good friends with now out in Australia, and he composed that, and that already had the binaural beats in there.
Okay.
So that part was pretty simple. As far as the audio experience, I created, because when that feeling came in, I had no clue what astral projection was. So I had this feeling to create, out-of-body experience, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to learn a little bit about this. So once I started to look it up a little bit and to process that, I created that with the intention of using it on myself, because I wanted to see if it worked before I shared it, because I'm just not going to create something and share it if it's not effective.
Right.
So that first one I created for myself and my own listening, and I started engaging in my own audio, and the results I was experiencing were just amazing. So then I shared that back out with everyone else.
Okay. Yeah, you are right, though. I mean, well, let me ask you something. But let me just expound on that before I go to this next point.
Sure.
Have you actually had an out-of-body experience while listening to that particular meditation?
Yes. Myself, personally, I astral project through a lucid dream. And some people can astral project just at will. Others struggle. Others kind of come half out, come half in. Then they start thinking, and then they got to start over. But myself, when I'm in a lucid dream, then I can astral project pretty simply. So my own experience is through lucid dreaming, where I'm consciously aware in the dream, and then I make the decision in the dream to astral project, and then I'm all lined up in the zone, and then I can experience that.
Well, that actually, it's funny that you say that, because that has happened to me on quite a few occasions. I've been able to get out consciously, but it's much easier to flip a lucid dream into an OBE. It's a piece of cake, because the minute you know you're dreaming, now you know anything is possible, and getting out is
right.
Cake. And I don't know how you flip your lucid to an OBE, and I'd be interested to hear, because just to compare notes, what I do is if I'm lucid in a dream, I suddenly stop wherever I am, and I allow myself to fall backwards. And what happens is, it's actually, even though my body's already separated, it kind of creates a second separation, or the euphoria of a second separation. And what I do is kind of, it's my test. Like, am I really lucid? Let me fall down. If I crack my skull, I know I was awake. But it never happens. I just fall very slowly, almost like a feather. And by the time I'm down, fully horizontal, I know, all right, I'm out. What's your technique for flipping a lucid dream?
The couple that I've had that I use is, I like to, when I'm in a lucid dream, I like to run and jump off of things very high, and I like to fall. So if I run and jump off a bridge or a cliff and I know I'm falling, in that moment of the knowingness that I'm falling and I'm in control, then I can project. Or I've also envisioned a bed right in front of me, gotten into the bed and known that I was lucid dreaming and put the intention into the projection and then gone that way as well. Those are the two ways that I tend to do the most. I either run and jump off something, or I just create the bed wherever I am, and then go that way.
Excellent. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever had any? I don't want to call it formal training, but have you ever taken techniques from like OBE books or read anything on it? Because what you're describing is not only similar to what I do, but it's textbook OBE 101, the whole jumping and falling thing, which is, it's supposed to give you that, and it's pulling, what you're describing is talked about in Mastering Astral Projection by Robert Bruce and Bruce Mercer, and William Buhlman's book, Adventures Beyond the Body, plus 2 or 3 other ones. Robert Monroe was another one for using that technique of the whole running and jumping or falling. And one of the techniques they talk about is picture yourself on a tall building and jump. And as you're falling, watch, get the whole sensation of the wind rushing and the ground coming up to meet you, but instead of hitting, progress right through the ground. And what the sensation is supposed to do, at least not in your mind, but in your, in your inner self, is once you're passing through the ground, that you're, how can I explain? That you're separating. And that's what it does, is it springs the astral body. So what you just talked about is literally OBE 101. Perfect. Excellent description.
Wow, that's awesome. I've never read a book on it at all by anyone. So those gentlemen you just mentioned, I have never heard of them at all. What's interesting is some people, devour books and create from the knowledge and everything. All these meditations that I'm sharing with the world and everyone, I've really never sat down and read a book that anyone else has written on any of this stuff. I know I probably should. It'll probably help. But up until this point, everything is just, it's a feeling. It's a resonance. It's a vibration. It's an emotion that comes into me. So, and I'll share this with everyone. When I create these meditations, I do everything in one take, one shot, and I don't edit anything. So I clear my mind. I know what my intention is for that meditation, and I hit record, and I just go. And it's not until after I create it, when I listen to it, that I realize what I created. So when I create something like this radio show, for example, I'm not consciously aware of what we're talking about per se. So when I go back and listen to it, I'm going to be just as excited as anyone listening to it, because I'm really excited to hear what I'm talking about. And it's the same with these audios. It just flows. And then when I go back and listen to it, I learn so much about what I created from myself. It's me, but it's not me.
Well, that's an excellent way of putting it. It's you, but it's not you. It's what you're operating on is your higher self, and the knowing that comes from what we all have, because we've all done this before. We're all multidimensional, eternal beings, and our biggest problem is remembering. You don't seem to have that problem, and this is why you don't need books, because you just said it. It's a resonance, and your frequency is high enough, your vibration is high enough, and you're remembering that you just know how to do this. It's like the guy who, well, give you an example. I have a friend who picked up a guitar years ago when we were all 15 years old, and within like 3 weeks, he was better than guys who'd been at it 10 years. And in this life, he had never picked up a guitar before. And I've tried to explain this to him, but he's also very dogmatic in his beliefs and very kind of locked into organized religion. So he's not buying the whole past lives thing. But it's completely plausible to me, and probably very possible, that he's been a guitar player or a consummate musician so many times that as soon as he picked up this guitar, it was like, oh, right, I'm home. I remember how to do this. Yeah, and off he went. And I think the same thing is probably happening with you with these meditations without any quote-unquote formal training or any teachers of any kind. You just set on this task, and everything you do just works. So you can't just you've got to chalk that up to one of two things. Either what I'm saying is correct, or it's completely divine intervention, and you're being led by somebody. It can only be one of the two,
right?
Or maybe a little of both.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. I think that, the fact that you're able to remember, to your higher self, how this is all done and what to say and how to use the cadence of your voice. And it just comes out and you don't even think about it. You just know instinctively, all right, if I do this, this will happen. If I make this meditation, it'll help with this. So there's a huge amount to be said for that. I mean, that alone should give you pause to just sit there and say, wow, I am truly awakened. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's exciting. It really is.
And that's one of the great things about being here in this life, as difficult as they can be sometimes. But that's one of the great things about it is you can have these experiences where you start to touch that part of yourself where you do remember, who you truly are. And it's very gratifying. It's almost like, how can I explain this? To use an easy sports metaphor. Let's say you've been shooting baskets for, 6 months, and your big thing is you want that slam dunk. And you keep trying and failing and trying it. And then one day, without anything being different from any of the other 100 times you tried, you get the complete right amount of air, you're right over the rim, and bang, in the thing goes, and it's all net. That's what that feeling is similar to, that feeling of, hey, wait a second, I can do this. Why couldn't I just do this before? What was going on? What did I do now that was different last time? And that's like me. I'm one of those people that takes everything apart and questions it. Maybe you don't question it. I don't know. Most people don't. I seem to be a real pain in the ass in that respect, because I just question everything. But it's so great when that happens, isn't it? When you just have that moment of clarity and everything just falls into place.
You can't even describe that feeling.
No.
The clarity, the contrast, just the cognition, the knowingness that comes in, the control, the self-control, the self-presence. It's amazing. And going back to something you just said, I never, ever, 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 ever think about the how. How is it going to happen? How is that going to be? How will that come true? I never even put any attention onto that. I do, however, put all my focus on the why. And the why is a feeling. What feeling am I trying to feel? What feeling am I trying to resonate with? What feeling do I want to connect with? What feeling do I want others to feel? So I do put a lot of focus and intention on the why, but I don't put nothing on the how.
That's probably why you're so successful, because you don't overthink it. Your intent is for the end. You're actually you're a walking testimonial for what to do right, because anybody who teaches meditation or tries to put out meditation videos, anything like that, the overarching theme is, don't think about how you're going to get what it is you're trying for. See the finished product. And that actually, to bring Laurie Cabot back into it, was something that she taught. Don't see the 18 steps that it's going to take to get to where you want to go. Just see yourself as already there. And you that's exactly what you're saying, is you just see the finished product. You don't see, well, I have to do this, and then I have to record this, and now I have to get this music, and I have to try to make this match, and blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, your intent carries you right through, and the product is complete. Does that pretty much sound correct?
Yeah, spot on. And something, too, I want to back up a little bit on the Autobody Experience, because millions and millions of people try, we'll say. Not everyone can do it, and they struggle. And I get hundreds of emails and comments a week of people, why doesn't it work? I've been trying, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, blah, 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 blah. And here's the answer. The answer is you can't force it to happen. The only time it will present itself is when you're vibrationally lined up with yourself. Now, how do you get vibrationally lined up with yourself? You focus on one thing, and that is you always work on feeling better. Every waking moment of every waking day, every thought you have, you should be working on feeling better. Think about the things you want. Think about the things you'll have. Think about who you want to become. When you're in that state of self-knowingness and feeling good, that puts you at the front of the list to have an experience that will just blow your mind. Because when you don't, if you try to force it or you have annoyance or frustration or confusion, well, you're setting up self-resistance. You're putting that wall right up between you and the other you that you're trying to separate from. You're never going to get there. So how do you let go of that resistance? You focus on feeling better. Now, it doesn't matter what that is. If you want to draw with crayons on your mother's floor, if that makes you feel good, go do it. If you want to go to the park and throw ham at birds, or throw wherever you want to throw, you want to just go throw ham at people somewhere. If that makes you feel good, start there. But that's the first step. So a lot of people, they can't do it. I've been trying for months and nothing happening. Well, you focused on the lack of. So you can't think about what you don't want and expect what you want to come in. So you have to focus on feeling better. Then you vibrationally line up with who you are. Then that experience will happen on its own. So it's one key thing. You can't force it or try to make it happen. And when you're in that zone, when you start feeling things move around and you feel some vibrations that you're not used to, when you put thought on it, that will actually pull you out of it. So the key is when you're in that meditative state and you're going deeper and deeper and deeper and more relaxed and you're noticing these sensations occur, just remain aware. Just remain in the moment. Don't think, don't try, don't force, because that'll always put you back at square one.
That's excellent advice. I can definitely attest to that. That has happened to me, and it's a lot of people who do OBE work. The minute you actually, when you focus your intent on something, you're fine. When you focus your mind on it, you're right. Boom, you blow it all up. Because your mind is not, can I say this? This is how I feel anyway. The human mind is not compatible to the human spirit. And I think that that's true because of the fact that each one of us goes out every night. We leave our body once we're asleep. Of course, the key is trying to do that consciously so you remember everything, but we do it. Everybody leaves their body each night as we sleep. We go off and we have these adventures, and we go to lectures by Einstein, and we go to amusement parks, and we go visit relatives and friends that are on the other side. We do all of these things. But when we come back, the download doesn't take place, and because the human mind is not compatible to what we've seen and done during the night while we're out there, that's why you get things like a fish riding a Harley Davidson through your living room while spouting Pavarotti, because the human mind it's not compatible to the spiritual experience, and it can't make apples out of oranges, so it comes up with the best kind of a hybrid it can, and that's why we have these screwball dreams that don't mean anything. So in this roundabout way that I've said it, I agree with you. The minute you put your human mind into the equation, you're pretty much done. You have to start all over again.
Right. However, you can use your mind to clarify and specify your intention.
Yes.
Because remember, like, our brain is in our skull. Our mind is outside of our skull.
Yes.
So there is a way to get your mind and your spirit to coexist or co-create. But, you got to be consciously aware that the two are different, and then you have to play a little bit, pull some strings, and develop your own feelings that feel good, and then that will automatically, by default, pull you in that direction that you desire.
I wanted to ask you about another video in particular, only because this is the first that I'm seeing of it, so I'm curious as to what the response for you has been on this particular one. The one that's, Do You Believe in Magic? Secrets on How to Harness the Power of Intent, since we're talking about intention.
Mm-hmm.
How it looks like, if I look at the comments, looks great.
Yeah, that one's not a meditation. That is an audio introductory to. There's a product we came out with at the end of last year. It's the Paul Santisi Energy Intention Coin, and it's a coin. And I designed the artwork on it. On the front is a torus of energy with the free floating soul, and on the back is the flower of life. So that audio actually talks about how that coin came to be. Since we're talking about it, that coin's really, really amazing. These coins are beautiful, but what I do with them, I just don't send you the coin. I actually put my intention into the coin for the bearer. So it actually acts as a talisman or a good luck token or an heirloom, something like that. A lot of people, they may not know that if there's an heirloom passed down through generations and only given to select family members for that generation, that piece has such a significant energetic vibrational resonance to it based on the intention of the bearer's past. So some of these super successful people, they have these heirlooms passed down, but they'll never tell you that they attribute their life to this piece. But truly, that piece is connecting them to this abundant energy that they're receiving in physical form in this life, we'll say. So with the coin, that audio talks about how the coin came to be, and it's an amazing story of how that was. But with that coin, when someone does order a coin, I put my intention into that coin specifically for that person. And then there's an activation audio, and I'll send you a coin after the show. Just give me your address, and I'll get you one. And there's an activation audio that when the listener listens to it, I explain to you the symbols, the meaning behind it, and we go really deep. And then you activate yourself through the coin, and actually, it helps you to connect yourself to source energy as a reminder and as a tool. But people love their coins. They're in every country in the world right now, and the response on the coins is amazing. So that You Believe in Magic is not a meditation. It's a 40-minute audio where I explain to you this specific coin.
And there you go. Well, again, now to show you, I don't have to show you, obviously, to show our audience how things work in the universe when they're really clicking along nicely, my next question to Paul was going to be the coin. And I wasn't quite sure how to broach it because I had only recently heard about the coin. So I thought, okay, how can I kind of work this in? So, of course, I'm looking around on his site while I'm talking to him, and what do? I fall right to the video that is going to get him to talk about the coin.
Bam.
It's amazing. It is amazing how things work out sometimes. But you know what, Paul? I really got to hand that all to you because you really have such a great energy. It's probably your energy that's leading this thing along. So I'm gonna just doff my chapeau to you, sir, because this is working out too easy. It's almost too easy. It's just an autopilot type interview, which are fine. These are the ones I don't have to work hard for, folks. These are the real easy ones. Sometimes when you have somebody as a guest, you literally have to stand there and drag the information out of them because they're not comfortable either with being on the radio or they're not comfortable with you. Thankfully, though, every once in a while you get one that's just bread and butter, and this one is definitely following that same tact. How can I explain it? No, how can I want to ask this properly. How long, Paul, exactly have you been doing this? In other words, from start to finish, from the trip to Las Vegas, are we talking about a number of years, months, weeks? I know it's not weeks, obviously, but since you started, the very first thing you put up.
The event I went to where I felt that the voice was, it'll be 2 years in the middle of this month.
Amazing. Was it a metaphysical event that you went to?
No, it was an event. It was actually a network marketing event for a company. It wasn't about building business the weekend. It was called Dream Weekend. So it was all about, what's your dream? What do you want? It was really churning up the emotions of intensity of desire. It was a really good time. And then I I think I uploaded the first one in May. I think I did the first one, and then nothing else followed until September. So it really hasn't even begun, really. I mean, I think there's not almost 100 videos up now, but I haven't even started. It's been such a short period of time. I mean, collectively, I keep adding videos, so it hasn't even been 2 years of every video. You're just talking from 1 to 100 is about 2 years.
Amazing. Let's take another one. The remove negative blocks, deep visual relaxation, the guided meditation. It's like an hour and 7 minutes long. Now you talk about when you make a med, you go from start to finish. You don't make any edits. You do, it's a one-take deal. So let's take that meditation, which is an hour and 7 minutes and 35 seconds long. Is that what it took you to make it? You start your audio. When you're done, click, it's over, and that's it?
For the most part, yeah.
Wow. That takes a lot of talent.
I go in and when you listen to my audios, there's a lot of suggestions that come from all directions. And what I usually do is I'll do the main audio, and then I'll go back and then I'll continue to do the suggestions. So then when I create this, I'll go through it one time and just push it through. But one that we can talk about that's extremely powerful, if you look there, is called Mind Silence. And that one, I think it's over 1 million something views in the last, 6 or 7 months. That meditation moves people in magical ways. And what I do for the first 20 minutes is I'm enthusiastically, full of love, yelling at you on what's up. You're not happy with how your life is. This is why. This is what you need to do to move forward. And I shake up emotions. I get people laughing, crying, angry, happy. I really stirs you up. The first 20 minutes is a wild ride. And then after that, I bring you into energy clearing to remove negative blocks. And I use commands with certain frequencies of tuning forks. And what we do is we bring up emotions and things that have happened in your life. We confront them, and then we let them go. So there's an energetic release and replacement. Instead of holding on to resentment, anger, or fear, we replace it with a positive emotion. So when moving forward, when that listener thinks about that situation where before they may feel sad or insecurity or upset, they're actually going to start to feel better and become self-empowered instead, which is really powerful. Then the last part is like a 20 or 30-minute meditation where we just kind of roll it all together and release everything and just bring you back to that place of self-harmony and let go of all the resistance. And that meditation is extremely powerful and extremely popular. If you can take a look at that one, you'll see. The comments on that are amazing.
An hour and 25 minutes long, folks. So if you want to do this particular one, the Mind Silence one, you definitely have to set some time aside. This is an hour. It's an hour and a half by the time it's all said and done. So
yeah, that was the most positive, beneficial hour and a half you'll ever give yourself. Period.
And it's free.
It changes people in abundant, positive ways instantaneously after listening.
Well, you must be doing something right, Paul, because like you said, that one video has 1,156,563 views. That's
all organic. I've never paid a penny to push anyone to click on it.
Unreal.
That's just people sharing it with other people. Yeah.
There's another one you have here that looks interesting. I'm going to have to try myself, the headspace meditation, because I love the idea of parallel dimension universe. That's a big thing for me. So
yeah,
that
one's fun.
Try headspace. That looks great.
That one's short. I think that's a quick one. I think that's 20 something minutes.
26, 24. Yeah. But it looks like fun. Just looking at the graphic, and that's how things are drawn to me. I'm drawn to things visually. I get a feeling if I see something visually. That's generally how I pick my books. If I see a book that just stirs something in me, I'll grab it. I'm never disappointed, and I've learned to follow that instinct. So when something visually strikes me, I definitely go check it out. And I love the graphic on this with the head and all of the energy bubbles around it. This is just great. I'm going to have to try this one. And thank you for the offer of the coin. I will definitely take you up on that because it looks very interesting. I saw the design basically, and it looks really cool. I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, the coin's really cool. It's all in embossed 3D. It's made out of solid, energy attracting materials. It has affirmations on it. It's really powerful, and when you hold it for the first time, you'll feel my intention resonate, and your fingertips will tingle and buzz. It's really cool. It's a very cool piece.